So this is Ashley, and she's about to move overseas to be with the man of her dreams. But what starts as a romantic adventure is about to turn into a nightmare. Ashley Wadsworth was a 19-year-old from Vernon, British Columbia, Canada. Bright, adventurous, and full of life, she had dreams of traveling the world. And like many teenagers, she spent a lot of time online chatting with friends, scrolling through social media, and meeting new people. One day, she connected with someone who would change her life forever. Ashley was just 12 when she met Jack Seppel on Facebook. Jack was 16, living in Chelmsford, Essex, England. At first, they were just friends messaging back and forth, talking about their lives and forming a connection. But as the years passed, things changed. By the time Ashley was 15, she started to see Jack differently. He was older, from another country, and she found him attractive. Their friendship turned into a long-distance relationship, even though they had never met in person. They stayed together for years, messaging daily, talking about their future, and dreaming about finally being together. And when Ashley turned 19, she decided it was time to make that dream a reality. Ashley got a 6-month tourist visa and booked a flight to the UK. She was going to live with Jack, finally meet him in person, and see if their relationship could work in real life. Her family had concerns. They worried about her moving so far away to live with someone she had never actually met. But Ashley was determined. She believed she was making the right choice, so she packed her bags, flew across the ocean, and finally, after years of waiting, she met Jack face to face. They took their first photo together, smiling and happy. It seemed like the perfect love story. At first, everything was great. Jack was charming, and Ashley was thrilled to finally be with him. They visited famous landmarks, took pictures, and enjoyed their time together. But behind closed doors, things were not as perfect as they seemed. Jack wasn't exactly the dream boyfriend Ashley had imagined. He was unemployed, lived in public housing, and spent most of his time playing video games and smoking. He had no real ambitions, no job, and no plans for the future. Ashley might have overlooked all of this, but what she couldn't ignore was how controlling Jack became. He didn't like her talking to other people. He would get jealous over little things, accusing her of flirting, questioning who she was texting. Then, after Christmas, things took a dark turn. Jack went through Ashley's phone and found numbers she had blocked. He became furious, assuming they were ex-boyfriends. The argument escalated, and then Jack snapped. He hit her. Ashley should have left right then and there, but she didn't. Maybe she was in shock. Maybe she still loved him. Maybe she thought it was just a one-time thing, but it wasn't. Jack became more possessive, more violent. He was constantly checking her phone, reading her messages, and controlling her every move. One night, he found old texts from before. Ashley had even moved to the UK. Again, he flew into a jealous rage. This time, it was worse. He grabbed a beer mug and smashed it over her head. Still, Ashley stayed. She started lying to her family, telling them everything was fine, that she was happy. But they knew something was wrong. Then, Ashley's sister saw it for herself. During a FaceTime call, Jack got mad over something ridiculous and started throwing things at Ashley. Her sister watched in horror, begging her to come home. Ashley refused, but her family wasn't going to let this continue. Her sister told their mum what she had seen, and that was it. Her mother immediately booked Ashley a flight back to Canada. Even Jack agreed it was time for her to go. But there was one problem. Because of COVID restrictions, Ashley needed a negative test before she could fly. The earliest she could leave was in 3 days. She just had to make it through those last 3 days. The day before her flight, everything exploded. Jack realized he was losing control of Ashley forever, and he couldn't handle it. They argued. He hit her again. Then, in a horrifying act of cruelty, he grabbed the kitten he had given her for Christmas and threw it against the wall. Ashley was horrified. She ran to a neighbour's house, desperate for help. The neighbour calmed things down for the moment, but Ashley knew this wasn't over. That night, she secretly messaged her sister, but because of the time difference, her sister was asleep. Ashley was alone. At some point, Jack lost it completely. He grabbed her. She tried to fight him off, but he was stronger. He strangled her, and when that wasn't enough, he grabbed a knife. He stabbed her, not once, not twice. Then, after brutally murdering her, Jack did something disturbing. He went on Facebook, changed his profile picture to a smiling photo of him and Ashley, and wrote the caption, "Mine forever." The next morning, Ashley's family woke up to missed messages. They tried to call her, no answer. Panicked, they contacted one of Ashley's friends in the UK, asking her to check on her. The friend went to Jack's apartment, knocked on the door, but no one answered. Something felt off. She called 999. When police arrived, they found Ashley's body. Jack was still in the apartment, covered in her blood. He was arrested on the spot. Jack pleaded guilty to Ashley's murder. In court, the truth came out. Jack had a history of abusive behaviour. Past girlfriends had filed restraining orders against him. Even his own mother had taken legal action against him. He was sentenced to life in prison, with a minimum of 23 years and 6 months before he could even be considered for parole. Ashley Wadsworth had her whole life ahead of her. She was kind, adventurous, and full of dreams, but because of one violent, controlling man, her life was stolen in the most horrific way. Her story is a heartbreaking reminder of the dangers of toxic relationships and the importance of listening to those red flags. If you or someone you know is in an abusive situation, please reach out for help. It could save a life.